Hello, friends. In the last series under the pollution, today we are going to talk about the radioactive pollution, the biomedical waste, the soil pollution, and the e-pollution. Okay, because the last three topics, that is the air pollution, water pollution, soil, and noise pollution, we have already discussed, and this comes under your MPH 203, which is environmental health and sustainable development. Now, coming to the radioactive pollution. So, as you all know, like there are three types of radioactive emissions. Okay, one is your alpha, beta, and gamma rays. And basically, what are these? These are your particles which are carrying positive, negative, and no charge particles. Okay, like alpha is carrying positive charge, then beta is carrying your negative charge, and gamma carries no charge. Okay, so gamma rays, as you all know, that is almost like identical to your x-rays, and henceforth radioactive pollution is defined as an increase in the natural background radiation which is emerging from the activities of the man involving the use of the radioactive material, whether naturally occurring or artificially produced. So before coming on to radioactive pollution, we should know about what is the radioactive material or the activities, types of radioactive activities. So once you understand, then you will understand these radioactive emissions. Like I told you, there are three types of emissions: alpha, beta, and gamma. And I also told you like what is the pollution. Like when there's an increase in the natural background radiation, normal, there's a normal range, but it is more than this, then so the naturally occurring, radioactive emission of the radioactive material is in terms of your cosmic radiations. This cosmic radiations from the outer space and the terrestrial radiation from the isotopes on the earth crust, whereas the cosmic radiation produces your carbon 14 and hydrogen 3, which reach the earth in form of carbon dioxide and water. And these naturally occurring radioactivity in the earth crust is found in form of your ores of uranium and thorium, potassium 40, as well as your rubidium 87. Okay, so let us understand now like how these radioactive pollution are being caused. As you can see from the slide, the various environmental pollution can be caused due to the processing of the uranium and the thorium ores. Okay, and why it is being done? It is being done in order to produce these sort of materials. Then you are basically, when you are operating your nuclear reactors, you are testing your nuclear weapons, you are using various type of radio tracers in for medicine, you're in biology, your agriculture industry. So these basically are responsible for causing this radioactive pollution which is naturally occurring. As far as from the polluted environment may reach man directly or indirectly, and the direct sources could be your exposure to the radioactive gases and radioactive particles. For example, use x-rays, television sets, luminous dials of the clocks from watches, etc. As well as the indirect route, it is basically through the consumption of the radioactive particles through the food chain, which may in terms of ingestion of the plants that have acquired radioactivity from the contaminated soil or water, or through consumption of the animals which have fed on such plants. Okay, and then animals which are living in the contaminated water, irradiated food, contaminated water having radioactive particles. So it is everything. So in the on the slide you can see the nuclear reactors. When you are in close proximity to this thing, so the radioactive pollution can take place. Now so I've already discussed about, it is basically from the nuclear accidents, it is the use of right isotopes, spillage of the radioactive chemicals, test on radiation and cosmic rays, we have already distinct. Now here important thing that to understand is how this radioactive pollution is basically distinct from the other types of pollution. It is because the effects are not confined only to the exposed persons, but also to the future generation. Mind you, this is a very very significant difference, because this is because this radioactive pollution can cause mutations. It can cause genetic mutations which is caused by these radiations, and henceforth their harmful effects could be seen in terms of malignancy, particularly leukemia. Okay, so this is very very important. So like I told you, there could be genetic mutations, there could be diseases, there could be soil infertility, cell destructions and burns, could be the various effects of your pollution. And there is actually, you know, no threshold or a safe dose for these radiations, because even a small you know, increase above the natural background can be placed a person at risk. And as far as the maximum permissible dosage for the radiation is concerned, which is recommended by in India by your International Commission on Radiation Protection. Okay, so they have divided into three type of dosage. One is the total lifetime dose, the second is the weekly dose, and the third is your yearly dose. So as far as your lifetime dose is concerned, your you it is the value is 200 rem. Okay, because see, in this slide we are talking about the proper methods of disposing the radioactive waste. So in order to understand the proper disposition of the radioactive waste, you should know first the dosimetry of which is harmful. So in terms of your lifetime dosimetry, 200 rem. Now rem stands for Roentgen equivalent man. Okay, Roentgen was the person who discovered your x-rays, and then rem is the amount of radiation that will produce an energy dissipation in man that is biologically equivalent to 1 Roentgen of radiation of the x-ray, or equivalent to your 1000 ergs per gram. Okay, so Roentgen is the unit of your x-ray, like I just explained it to you, or the gamma radiation intensity. So one amount of radiation, that is your gamma or x-ray, that produces one electrostatic unit of electricity in 1 cubic centimeter of dry air at normal temperature and pressure, is the normal range. And in human beings, 200 rem is the normal range throughout the entire lifespan. As far as your weekly dose is concerned, the above lifetime dose corresponds to your 0.1 rem per week. Okay, when you calculate in terms of the 200 rem in comparison to the whole life, then you know, for every week it should not, it should, it amount, it is close to 0.1 rem. And ICRP, that is your International Commission on the Radiation Protection, it has recommended that the limit of 0.3 rem per week for a radiation worker, with the condition that the dose in any 13 weeks period should not exceed your 13 rem. So there is a batch which absorbs this thing and gives the reading. As far as the yearly dose is concerned, it is 5 rem. So remember these three things. Total lifetime dosage is 200 rem, the weekly dosage is 0.1 rem, and as far as your for any of the 13 weeks, it should not exceed your 13 rem, and for a yearly dose it should be only 5 rem. So it is very very important. And you know, like I told you, that rem is a unit of radiation energy, whereas curie is used for radioactive disintegration. Now this is very very important, because again, drinking water should not have a gross beta radiation above 1000 picocurie in the absence of your alpha emitter or strontium 90. So this is very important, because this contamination can also affect your water cycles, it can affect your lands. So henceforth, when all the radioactive materials, all you know, it goes for a radioactive disintegration, and then the unit is not rem but curie has to be used. So this has to be kept in mind. So what are the various measures to control radioactive pollution? So one thing is, you know, the preventive measures can be classified into three categories. Number one is the storage and the discharge of the radioactive material. Okay, now before storage, it is important, the fourth point is we have talking about storage. But before storage, we need to understand, the labeling has to be there, the nuclear test has to be banned, alternative energy sources has to be used. And in terms of storage and discharge, it is again classified into three categories. Number one is your low activity waste, the second category is your high activity waste, and the third category is your very strong active waste. So as far as the low activity waste, they should be discharged into sewers or drain. These should also be stored for some time before discharge so that they can reduce their activity. As far as the high activity waste are concerned, they should not and cannot be discharged as such. So the nuclear radionuclides from such waste are segregated by coagulation, by using certain methods. What are these methods? They are coagulation, precipitation, or ion exchange. So the concentrated nuclide in solid form is stored or buried, and the waste water remaining behind can be discharged. And the third category that I told you is very strong active waste, so these cannot be treated and has to be stored indefinitely. And similarly, there has to be a limitation of the emission of the radioactive waste, the proper dispersal has to be there, okay. And the individual exposure has to be limited, it has to be reduced, by means of the duration has to be reduced of exposure, and the operation should be carried out as quickly as possible. Like for example, when you are going for an x-ray, it should not be going for a long time. And then maintaining safe distance, shielding, wearing of the lead aprons has to be there. Similarly, in terms of dispersal, like I said, the emission cannot be the dispersal of the pollutants over a large area basically dilutes the pollutants and decreases the risk. So similarly, it can be all be done. And then in terms of radioactive pollution, the condition is not good in terms of, because there have been certain incidences. And when the people who are living in these nuclear reactors, they are very prone for all these damages. So the government should keep all these things in check. And disposal of the radioactive of the waste is a very very complex issue. And so it should not be taken very lightly. So the decades of safe and successful operation has to be there. And every effort has to be taken, what I've just discussed, to minimize the radioactive discharge. Then in terms of the second line of pollution is your biomedical waste. Biomedical waste, we have discussed in great details in our other videos, so I will skip this part, because you can go through the our other videos which is concerning the biomedical waste we have, where we have discussed in great details. Okay, so there are 10 categories. What are these categories, how are being classified, what sort of their color coding is being used, okay, and how they have to be discarded, what all human effects they can cause, or why they are dangerous. So all these can be you can study all these things by going through our other videos. I will directly come to the solid waste pollution. Again, we have just discussed in our land waste as well. But to discuss in brief, it is basically the garbage or refuse, the sludge from the wastewater material treatment plants, from supply plants. And again, they are categorized as a municipal waste as well as your hazardous waste that we have already discussed. Similarly, they have got, in terms of, they have got their own sort of environmental impacts. And they can again affect and pollute the air, water as well as soil. Then it has got, again, it can choke your drains, it can basically it can spread disease by means of various vectors. Then while handling, it again causes disease transmission, it can cause water and food contamination. So all these things are there, which we have already again discussed earlier. Similarly, then we come to your solid waste pollution, we have already discussed. And then e-pollution. Okay, now before I discuss your e-pollution, I would also want to discuss about the thermal pollution. Now thermal pollution, as you know, again, from the nuclear power plants and the thermal power stations, they are basically your major heat producers. And this is a term. Thermal pollution is denoted through as to the impairment of the quality of the environment through an increase in the temperature of air or water. So basically, this as the water temperature rises, the dissolved oxygen decreases, and conversely, this oxygen demand also increases, as a result of which it will increase the anaerobic condition, and there will be release of the foul gases, as a result of which the aquatic animals basically die, and there is also an increase in the temperature. Green algae is being formed. So we discussed in water pollution, we have discussed this thing in detail. So globally, if we see, we have got now problems of global warming, greenhouse gases, that is, can be labeled as your water vapors, then your carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, ozone, chlorofluorocarbons. We have already discussed these things. Then in terms of e-pollution, now this is the new type of pollution, because you can see that all the e-waste is basically an abbreviation which is used for your electronic and the electrical waste. So all your computers, again, this is we have discussed under land pollution, but in order to just, so you have got various sort of devices, your TV appliances, computers. So this is this sort of a material, they are being used or discarded by the owner without the intention of the reuse. So it basically comprises again of 6 categories: your temperature exchange, your screen, monitor, lamps, large equipment, small equipments, as well as your small IT and the telecommunication equipments. And these again can this contains heavy toxic materials like mercury, lead, cadmium, then your barium, lithium, okay. And these toxic materials can affect the body in terms of the skin sores, your hypertension, lung damage, kidney diseases, as you can see on the slide. This is also we have discussed in great details when we have spoken regarding land pollution. And in order to control these e-pollution, we know that we have to develop various sort of an eco design devices. It has to be recycled, the e-waste has to be recovered, okay. And then recycling of the raw materials from end of life electronics, the it has to be reduced, the amount of greenhouse gases has to be reduced, we have just discussed. So in totality, this e-pollution again is a big challenge throughout the world. And India generates more than 2 million tons of e-waste annually. And ASHOCHAM, KPMG, and electronic waste material, they have discussed about all these things in great details, like what is the percentage of the various e-waste which is produced by the telecommunication or the electrical equipment. So before dumping, or before causing pollution, all these has to be treated. The education has to be done appropriately for the people. And people need to understand that if we don't take care of our environment properly, we will be losers in the end, and this is already happening. So we have already discussed all these things. So please go through the various slides about the land pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, and as well as your noise pollution and the other pollution. And if you have any questions, then do feel free to ask by writing on our website, or you can also post to us directly through our mail. So thank you so much. So with this, we have covered all different types of pollution, and we will be meeting you soon with the next chapter. Thank you so much once again.